Abram lived in a city called Ur. Abram loved God, but many of his neighbors who lived in that city did not. They worshipped the moon god and made sacrifices to this god in the temples. "I don't care if they do worship that old moon god that can't hear or see or do anything," Abram said. "The only God I'm going to worship is the true God who loves me and takes care of me." One day, Abram's father Terah said, "We're moving. I'm sure that won't make you unhappy, and I'm glad we can leave this wicked city and go to a place called Canaan." But when they traveled just halfway, Abram's father stopped. He said, "We will live here for a while." Abram obeyed his father and stayed there until his father died. Then God talked to Abram. God said, "Leave your country behind you and your own people and go to a land I will show you." Abram didn't know where he was supposed to go. God hadn't told him, but Abraham chose to obey God. When Abram told his wife Sarah, she might have said, "Abram, are you sure God told you to leave? He at least ought to tell you where we are going and what town we're moving to. Anyway, I like living here." Well, Abram replied, "I don't need to know where I'm going. I do know I trust God and I should always obey him. He promised to bless me and I will become the father of a great nation." Then he said to Sarah, "We must get ready to leave. Pack your things and we will take along my nephew Lot and all our sheep and our cattle. And we must take our servants too," Sarah reminded him. What a hurry and scurry there was. Food and clothes were packed on donkeys. Some of the people rode on animals. Some of them walked along with cows and sheep, and there were lots of cows and sheep. Abram, Sarah, and Lot traveled many days and nights. It was hot and dusty, and they were often very tired. At last, they stopped near a place called Bethel. At different times, Abram built altars and worshipped God, so this is what he did in Bethel, too. Both Abram and Lot were very wealthy. They had sheep and cattle and camels and many servants. But there were too many animals and not enough grass. So fights broke out between the herdsmen of Abram and Lot. "There isn't enough land for your animals and mine," said Abram. "We are godly men, and I don't want our neighbors who don't love God to see us fighting. What would they think of us? I have an idea. Look over there to the east. Now look over there to the west. Choose where you would like to live and you can have that land, and I'll take what's left." Abram was very kind to his nephew Lot, to let him choose first. God had helped Abram not to be selfish. Well, what land did Lot choose? The land on the east side that was beautiful countryside with lots of water and green grass for his sheep. But Lot made a mistake. The land he chose was near a very wicked city. Abram had the land to the west that wasn't very green and beautiful. But God had a surprise for Abram. "Look as far as you can see in all directions," God said. "All of this land will someday be yours." So Abram moved his tent near Hebron, and once again he built an altar to worship God. Abram wanted to talk to God often so he would remember to do what was right. Abram learned to love his new land, and he never forgot to talk to God and worship him.